April 2022, an event took place that would leave an indelible mark on the lives of many, including the suspect. God.
Are you hearing the gunshots?
Over here, over here.
Over here? Hey, come here. Flamers. Stand over there. Stand over there.
Today, we dive deep into the chilling moments that led a man to realize the crime he was caught up in.
Stand over there and don't move.
I'm not moving, bro. I promise to God on my soul, I'm not moving, bro.
Was far more serious than he ever imagined. Stay with us as we unravel the twisted chain of events that turned an ordinary night into a nightmare, leading to the discovery of a cold-blooded murder, the shocking realization of a tragic crime. On a seemingly regular evening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on April 23, 2022, the Milwaukee Police Department received a flood of emergency 911 calls. One call in particular stood out. Kashawn Rowley, a frantic man, was calling to report that his girlfriend, Leah Davis, had been shot in her apartment. His voice trembled with fear, and he could barely get the words out. The dispatchers tried to remain calm as they guided him to safety while sending officers to the scene. But what unfolded that night was more than just a tragic accident. It was the moment Kashawn would realize that the situation he was in wasn't just a misunderstanding, it was a first-degree murder investigation. First responders arrive. The suspicion begins. When the police arrived at Leah's apartment, Kashawn immediately appeared distressed and agitated. Officers on the scene noticed his erratic behavior, constantly repeating, "I didn't do anything," and swearing on his soul that he was innocent. His anxiety and constant attempts to explain himself drew attention. The officers directed him to stay still and let them handle the situation, but Kashawn couldn't seem to stop talking. As they moved into Leah's apartment, the reality of the situation hit hard.
This daughter Granny and everything, I never. All
right. Just take him outside.
She's got a gunshot wound to the head.
But listen, she told me to go. I was listening. So I came over here, right? I'm literally, she only let me stand right here. Mind you, okay? Listen. Did you listening to me?
Yeah, I'm
listening to me. Listen, she only let me stand right here. Look, I'm finna show you. She only let me stand right here, bro. Listen, she was like, I'm finna see. I asked her, can I come over? She said, you can come over for a little bit. I said, okay. I said, but when I got over here, she was like, no, you can't come in, or something like that, because she wanted to get ready to go to sleep. I'm like, okay, you want to get ready to go to sleep, so I'm finna go. I literally came down here to my car. I literally came over here to my car. I got in my car. All right, okay, listen.
Leah Davis was lying on the floor, unresponsive, with a fatal gunshot wound to her head. Blood pooled around her, and there were no signs of life. Kashawn's continuous protestations and insistence that he was not involved started raising more questions for the police. A desperate defense, Kashawn's version of events. As the officers tried to make sense of the scene, Kashawn offered his side of the story, though his words were jumbled with panic. According to him, he had visited Leah earlier in the evening. She had allowed him to come over, but only briefly, as she was preparing for bed and had to work the next morning at Walmart on East Capitol.
You're the only person in the apartment, so you're just detained right now, okay? No, you're right. No. Like I said, you're not arrested, but you're just detained until we figure out what's going on.
Bro, I swear to God, bro, I would have did that shit to her, cuz.
All right.
I don't know, bro. She didn't let me in the house, bro. She didn't let me in the house at all.
What happened?
Listen. I'm gonna tell you the same thing that I told him. Listen, so she just had got home about like 45 minutes ago, hour ago.
Okay.
I called her. She had said, "Can I come see you?" She had said, at first she had said no. I said, okay. I said, "Can I come see you?" She said, "Yeah, you can come see me, but only for a little bit because I have to go to work tonight because she work at Walmart East Capitol. I normally take her to work between 9:30 and 9:40. I said, okay. When I got over here, she only let me stand in the door. She didn't let me go in the house or nothing like that, bro. Nothing. Like, that's my girlfriend. I've been over there multiple times. But she didn't let me go over there. So she had said, okay, you have to leave because I'm finna get ready to go to sleep. I said, okay. I literally walked down the stairs. I came out the door. She closed the door behind me. I told her. I said, okay, I'm gonna call you later and make sure that you good and that you okay because I know you got work. And I told her to call me if you need a ride to work. Okay, this is what I do on the daily. So I said, okay. I literally got to my car door. I literally go to open my car door, and I hear 8 shots coming out her apartment. Not her apartment, but the fucking house complex. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm getting scared, like all I'm hearing is shots.
Kashan claimed that after Leah asked him to leave, he complied, heading to his car. But as soon as he got to his vehicle, he allegedly heard a series of gunshots, 8 to be exact, coming from Leah's apartment. Frightened, he said he drove away but soon turned back, fearing for Leah's safety. His account was filled with inconsistencies, and the police weren't convinced, especially considering that Kashan was the only person found in the apartment when they arrived. The evidence begins to pile up. As the investigation deepened, it became apparent that something didn't add up in Kashan's story. Leah's body had multiple bullet wounds, and there were clear signs of a struggle in the apartment. Officers found bullet holes in the walls and blood spatter that indicated she had been shot at close range. Despite Kashan's claims of being outside when the shooting occurred, there was no evidence to support his story.
Does that look like a bullet hole in the wall right in front of you? Right there? Yeah, that's what that is. Looks like you got some brain matter over here. Yeah, it came in through here.
Some brain matter's on her lap.
Is that one right there? Or not?
That's probably.
Looks like she might have been shot twice. Unless she held up her arm in front of her.
Here's the exit wound. Okay. Brain matter. 5 wounds total, 1, 2. 1 in the other arm, and then the 2 in the head.
And look at, there's stuff all over here. All up here. Did you look through the window?
Yeah, it's brain matter right on the window.
The apartment door had not been forced open, and no one else had been seen entering or leaving the premises. The more Kashan spoke, the more suspicious the officers became. He continued to insist that he loved Leah and would never harm her, but the forensic evidence pointed in another direction. The moment of realization. It's first-degree murder. As Kashan continued to explain his version of events, the police were piecing together the facts. It wasn't long before the weight of the situation began to dawn on him. The inconsistencies in his story, the forensic evidence, and his presence at the crime scene all painted a grim picture. Kashan had gone from being a concerned boyfriend to the prime suspect in a murder investigation. The look on his face changed as he slowly began to realize that this wasn't just a tragic accident, it was being treated as a first-degree murder. His repeated statements of innocence became less convincing as officers continued to gather evidence against him. Kashan's breakdown and further inconsistencies. As Kashan stood in disbelief, the full weight of the accusation seemed to break him. His frantic explanations became more incoherent as he tried to navigate the growing tension around him. He continually emphasized how much he cared for Leah, claiming they had no issues and that he would never hurt her. However, the inconsistencies in his story were becoming more apparent. How could he have heard gunshots from outside, but then immediately be at the apartment door trying to get back in? The police started questioning if his actions after the gunshots were genuine or simply a cover-up for what had already transpired. At this point, Kashan's narrative was unraveling, leaving officers with more questions than answers. Forensic evidence reveals the truth. As forensic investigators combed through the apartment, more evidence began to surface that painted a different picture from Kashan's account. Bullet trajectories indicated that Leah was shot at a close range, suggesting that the shooter had been in the room with her at the time of the incident. There were no signs of forced entry, and neighbors confirmed that they hadn't seen or heard anyone else enter the apartment during the time in question. Blood splatter analysis pointed to the fact that the gunshots were not random but targeted. The bullet casings found in the room matched the caliber of a weapon that had not yet been recovered. The pressure was mounting on Kashan, and it was becoming clear to investigators that his involvement was more than just coincidental. Kashan's behavior under scrutiny. As the investigation progressed, Kashan's behavior continued to raise red flags for the officers. His overly defensive stance and the fact that he repeatedly brought up his innocence, unprompted, struck investigators as odd. It's common for individuals in shock to behave erratically, but Kashan's actions were bordering on suspicion. While being held for questioning, he asked the officers if he was going to be charged with murder, a question that only added to the growing list of inconsistencies in his demeanor and actions. The discovery of key evidence. Investigators finally uncovered a key piece of evidence, a bullet fragment found near Leah's body. This discovery was pivotal in solidifying their case. Not only did the bullet match the wounds on Leah's body, but it also aligned with the ballistic tests run on other bullets found in the apartment. This, along with the fact that Kashan had been the only person present at the scene, made it harder for him to escape suspicion. His earlier claims of hearing gunshots while outside the apartment were further discredited, making it evident that he had been present during the shooting. The interrogation and confession. With the evidence stacked against him, Kashan was brought in for a formal interrogation. What began as a series of denials soon turned into contradictions. His story shifted under pressure, and eventually the truth began to surface. Faced with the overwhelming forensic evidence and the knowledge that his initial story no longer held up, Kashan confessed. He admitted to being in the apartment at the time of the shooting, but maintained that it was an accident, claiming that an argument had escalated beyond control. However, given the nature of the evidence, this was treated as a first-degree murder case, a tragic end to a young woman's life. This tragic case highlights how quickly a situation can spiral out of control and lead to irreversible consequences. What might have begun as a disagreement ended in a senseless loss of life, forever altering the futures of everyone involved. As this case moves forward through the justice system, it serves as a reminder of the weight of our actions and the devastating impact of violence. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that dive deep into real-life events.